A whole civilization will die tonight. That's the headline. Welcome back to the Coinbros, your guide through the greatest industry on this little tiny rock spinning through the universe in the simulation that we're all living in together, planet Earth. And that's the headlines. So there's three pretty big stories, and today's a pretty big one, right? And Trump actually said this. A whole civilization will die tonight. He said that at 8 p.m. Eastern last night. And I'm going to read this off to you guys. So this is the first story. And this is a super important story. So, like, I mean, this is just craziness, right? To even say something like that. Like, nobody wants a whole civilization to die. You know, whether or not that's just scare tactics, but it's just a crazy thing to say, right? So, 8 p.m. Eastern deadline for Iran to reopen the Straits of Hormuz or face overwhelming strikes on power plants, bridges, and civilization infrastructures. Trump has extended the deadline multiple times before. Iran rejected the ceasefire proposal, and he left a narrow window. Something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. So, yeah. So this is basically the deadline, right? So we'll see if Trump actually goes through with it. Now, if he does decide to start bombing everything and we start attacking them and blowing up infrastructure, not going to be good for the price of anything, right? Oil is going to spike to $130 probably in that range. I'll read you guys some scenarios that we came up with. And there's three scenarios that can happen here. And then we're going to talk a little bit about two more stories. But before we go into that, Bitcoin's holding around 68, 69K right now. It touched 70K yesterday. But, you know, people want to see what's going to happen because this is pretty crazy stuff, right? If they decide to attack and the war gets worse, then, you know, we're probably going to see a pretty big dump. But let's move on. So here's the three scenarios that can happen with this major story, right? Scenario one, strikes proceed. Oil spikes to $130. Risk off across everything. So Bitcoin, every market's going to dump pretty much. It would probably go to around like 63 to 65K. Would probably be, or maybe even lower than 60, which I don't know, maybe. Equities crash, gold spikes. This would be the biggest escalation since the war began, right? So that's scenario one. That's probably the worst scenario. Scenario two, deadline extended again. That's probably the most reasonable thing that could happen here. So relief rally, but muted. So it'd be like a delayed relief rally. What else we got here? The market has seen this pattern 4 times already. So the past 4 times that we've had extensions on this, on the ceasefire, it's held 68 to 70K range. So Bitcoin probably won't move too much, but oil will stay around like 100 to 110. And it's just kind of more of the same, right? So that's a very big possibility. Now, scenario 3 is what we're hoping for. Deal announced, right? A 45-day ceasefire with Straits reopening gets signed today. Oil crashes down under $90, which is what would probably happen. And BTC would probably rip to like 74 to 80K, right? So you'd see a huge pump in Bitcoin. And that's the most bullish outcome. Lowest probability with the highest impact. So that's the 3 scenarios that we can look out for. Let's hope for scenario number 3. But yeah, I mean, Trump says a lot of crazy things, right? But like just the statement, a whole civilization will die tonight. Regardless of how you feel about the war, I don't think anybody wants to see, you know, any civilization get wiped out, right? Like that's just not humane, right? So like nobody wants to see people die, you know. And if you're rooting for that, you probably gotta get checked out because that's not you don't want to. If you're rooting for people to die on any side, we're all humans, you know. Obviously, I want the U.S. to win this thing and to get out of it, but at the end of the day, man, like it's. You know, people are people, dude, and it's 2026, bro, and we're still destroying each other. It doesn't make any sense. And it's not good for the, you know, just on the price action of the entire world. Like, it affects the whole world, and everyone should be rooting for this to come to some kind of resolution, and the world will be a better place. So let's just hope for that. Okay, moving on. We'll see what happens. You know, time will tell. So story number 2. MicroStrategies, the guys that are buying up all the Bitcoin and buying everything that you're selling, they're underwater pretty big. So I'll read it to you right here. Strategies, they're in a $14.5 billion unrealized loss. So their average cost, and they just keep buying, is about, I think it's 75K. Or yeah, 75K. So the average Bitcoin that they've purchased, and they've purchased, I think he owns, or MicroStrategies owns like 700 and something thousand Bitcoin at a price of 75K, right? But he's been here before. He was doing the same thing when Bitcoin was at 16K. He was underwater. He kept buying, and then he did like a 7X. So he's betting that this is the same movie and this is the same outcome, right? And I think he just let me read this a little more. Yeah, so he just filed for another like $42 billion to purchase more Bitcoin. So he is buying. Like MicroStrategy's, Michael Saylor, they keep buying no matter what. And they probably like when the coin when Bitcoin dumps, right? Because they're thinking long term and they want to own 1 million Bitcoin. So they're going to continue to buy. And he's showing that he's not slowing down anytime soon, but they are underwater. They're underwater $14 billion. And they keep borrowing money to get more of it. So what does that tell you, right? They're either the smartest guys in the world or complete morons. I think they're smart. This is my boy here. He's not feeling good today. He's taking a day off school. So you want to join me for the? Oh, you got some stuff on your face. It's okay. So he's going to join me. He's got a fever, and it's probably my fault because I got him sick. So he's staying home. You want to read the daily wrap up with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we won't talk about any more war stuff since my little dude's here. All right. What else we got here? Stories that matter. Altcoins are still Ethereum's holding above 2K. Sol is around in the $80 range, so nothing big there, right? And a lot of it's dictated on what happens here with the war. And let's see what else we got here. There was one more story I wanted to talk about, and that would be, okay, yeah, this is a big one too. The largest BTC and ETF inflows since February. Institutions are buying the deadline, so a lot of them are buying the deadline on this war talk, right? Everybody's watching what's happening with the war, and the ETFs are just flowing in right now. So people are buying. The big guys are buying. Everyone else is panicking. The war, we're going to see what happens. Hopefully we get a good outcome and everything looks up. I'm hoping that's what happens tonight, but only time will tell, right? So that's pretty much it, man. We'll keep this one a little short today, but that's the biggest news of the day. You know, regardless of what happens, Bitcoin has been holding strong through pretty much everything that's been thrown at it. You want some Bitcoin? You want to trade some Robux for Bitcoin?
No.
No?
I want to trade Bitcoin for robots.
Okay, well, anyway, much love, you guys. Look, every single day, I'm going to keep you guys updated. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and keep your fingers crossed. We have a good outcome today. And tomorrow, hopefully, the update will be much brighter and happier, and we can all celebrate, right? So, yeah, be nice to each other. Much love, you guys. Like, subscribe. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Peace.